Hello and welcome to the Hellraiser blog. Guys, if you enjoyed today's Hellraiser blog, please help us grow the Hellraiser boxing family and keep yourself up to date with the latest developments by subscribing, hitting the subscribe button. Okay guys, today I'm going to do my final pre-fight blog on the WBC World Heavyweight title fight between Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. Why am I doing 3 blogs? This is my 3rd blog on this same fight. I normally only do 1, and that's enough to cover everything comprehensively, even though the blog only ever lasts 10 minutes at longest. I'll tell you why I'm doing another one, because a lot of the variables that I think are massively significant to the outcome of the fight were unknown, namely the depth of the underlay, the size of the ring. And these are like in the detail, and they're things that I know how fighters, their minds work, so you can't really let a fighter dictate. Because I mean, I had a situation recently where I had a boxer boxing at a high level for a title, and his first sparring session that I was at, we brought in a guy who was a weight division below the opponent he's going to fight, but with a very similar style. The idea being, right, you practice it on this guy, you perfect it on this guy, and then when you have the fight against the guy who has this same style but is bigger, you already practice the things that you're going to see and you can exploit the weaknesses. But the fighter that I took, he sort of stood centre ring and traded, had a war. But because the guy was a weight division below, and why do we take someone a weight division below? Because we want our guy to learn the skills without taking a pasting, so he can take risks because the guy's smaller that he wouldn't really want to take against someone the same weight as him. But the fighter said to me, I said to him at the end of the first round, I was quite discreet the first time, I said, look, this is what's happening. You're standing in the centre of the ring way too long. You're trading with the guy. Yes, of course you're getting the better of him because you are a weight division above. But it's a bad idea, okay? What we're here for is to learn and improve you so that when you have the title fight, when you have the big fight, you can use the tactics that you've learned here. But by standing in the centre of the ring trading, yes, you'll get the better of this guy because he's a weight division below you. Curiously, the boxer actually said to me, he said, no, we're the same weight. But they're not. They're 2 different weights. My guy's a heavier weight. But he said, you're going to see, I'll knock him out. I said, well, you can't be sure of that. You know, I mean, this guy, all he's ever shown is that he's extremely... No, I'm going to knock him out. Why do you have no faith? Right. This is a way boxers, they have to have their mindset like that, because they have to believe in themselves to be able to come through the fight and be successful and get through all the challenges that are set for them in the fight. They have to have a mindset like that. And I think you have to have someone behind you who says, it's got to be like this. You've got to do, you know, that can use their experience, because you learn a lot about boxing after you finish boxing. What I knew when I was boxing to what I know now, I can't compare. I mean, in every area, in weight making, in endurance training, in technical things, you're constantly learning. But when you're actually boxing yourself, you can only apply everything to your own attributes. You realise very quickly after you stop boxing, it's not about your own attributes. It's about what this guy or this guy or this guy, what they can do. And the boxer in question, you know, he thought he'd walk through the opponent, and then in about 30 seconds into the first round, it must have hit him, wow, I can't box at this pace against this guy because I'm going to get absolutely taken apart. And this is a feeling I've got with what I've seen with... I mean, Fury's brought in a new trainer who I know very little about. I don't know him. I'm not going to be overly critical of him because I don't know actually anything about him, whether he's good or bad. I would assume if Tyson Fury's taking him on as a coach, he must at least know a fair bit, because Tyson Fury's not an idiot. He might come across a little bit sort of eccentric sometimes, but I mean, I've met him a lot of times and over years, and he's never come across to me as any kind of idiot. He's actually quite a smart guy, and I think he actually puts on the eccentricity a little bit at times. So my worry is that he's in that zone, he's in that mindset where he thinks the size of the ring doesn't matter because I'm Tyson Fury and I'm going to knock this guy out. And I've just got a strong feeling now. As soon as I heard that 20 foot, and you got to, I mean, I was thinking it's going to be a 24 foot, and I thought they will insist on that. That will have been like a concrete, a non-negotiable term, because they're going to realise that Fury needs as much space as he can get. And how many options does Wilder have? I mean, do they want to put Wilder in another fight against someone that's really not going to whet the appetite? They need to put Wilder, to market him so that they can make those big fights that he wants. They need to put Wilder in against someone who can do the PR game, who can raise the status of both fighters through the build-up of the fight. And if you cherry-pick one of these guys who's not really there, it's not going to do that. It's just going to cost a load of money, and they're really, even if they win the fight, they're back to square one. No, I mean, Wilder was not a big name. He will be a bigger name now because of this press tour. People will have taken more notice of Wilder for this fight than probably any of his other fights leading up to this, even though that he's already a world champion. There's a lot of people in him. As Tyson Fury showed, he went around even in the US asking people, and you know, I think it was like 1 out of 5 knew who Wilder was. I certainly know who he is. I've watched him all the way through from the amateurs, and he is a guy who punches very, very hard. And if you've got a mover, Tyson Fury is an exceptional mover. I expect him to fight southpaw here and to move. And you want a big ring, that's for sure. You want a 24-foot ring. They haven't got it. It's going to be a 20-foot ring. The underlay out there is normally very thick. I remember before the Klitschko fight, big arguments, and they threatened to pull the fight, and eventually they took one layer of underlay out. Again, a thick underlay will massively favour Wilder, because Wilder needs to cut the ring space down and get his fast punches in at close range. Wilder has a sort of tactic where he comes in from way out, he launches himself with his jab, he launches his way in, and actually is very effective with his jab, not only because the jab lands, but the jab acts as a decoy to create openings where he then gets his right hand. And Wilder's, one thing we can certainly take from what we've seen of Wilder so far, even though we've only really seen him in a couple of competitive fights, and I would say that was the first fight against Stiverne. I discount the second fight with Stiverne, because Stiverne, I know very well Stiverne, because Zombano, who a boxer that I managed, was the main sparring partner for Stiverne for 2 years. So I watched many times in Mayweather's gym in Las Vegas, and the second fight with Stiverne must have been offered at short notice, because the condition that he came into the ring was probably the most predominant factor as to why the result ended the way that it did. A fit Stiverne, an in shape Stiverne, a better version of Stiverne, I think, would have given him a lot more problems. To me, look, it smacks of disorganisation. You know, they started off in Big Bear, then they're moving on. You've got a new coach. When I see a boxer get in the ring, I like it if I think like, this is the boxer stepping up to a level, but the coach is already at that level, so the coach can sort of smooth him into it. Whereas here we've got a new coach and a boxer coming into like a higher level fight. And I think this is a higher level fight, fighting Wilder than Klitschko, because Wilder's far more dangerous than Klitschko. Klitschko was sort of at the end of his reign when he boxed Fury. I think now you're going to see Fury really under pressure that we've never seen him under before. The ring is 4 feet, which is, you know, you're talking 120 centimetres smaller than and that makes a big difference. I can tell you, over the second half of the fight, it will make a tremendous difference when you're desperately needing that extra little bit of breathing space, and that's the actual physical space that you can move into to buy yourself time and buy yourself seconds and give yourself thinking space. He's not going to have that. It's going to be very, very intense on Tyson Fury. Ricky Hatton's, who's a good mate of mine and an excellent pressure fighter himself and understands the pressure game, so he'll be able to advise Fury about what he thinks Wilder's going to come to cut the ring space down. But Rick's not really worked with them for that long, and Freddie Roach, and I love Freddie Roach. He's not a big friend of mine. I've met him a few times, but this is last time I met him was years ago, and he was shaking it. I'm thinking, this guy's doing the cuts. I don't want to be like un-PC, but surely there is a problem with someone that's moving. Listen, this is the basic message I want to get across. I was in favour of Fury. I want Fury to win. I can't see it happening. I'm now picking Wilder. I think Wilder by stoppage in the last third of the fight. Enjoy the fight, guys, and please subscribe to the Hellraiser blog. We love your subscribes. See you then. Thanks for watching. Bye, guys. Bye.